Hi there. Today we're having another look at the program GpsPrune, and I'll be showing some of the functions. This builds upon the first video about preparing for a Swiss hike, so if you haven't seen that one yet, make sure to check it out too. We're in Switzerland again, but this time I want to plan a bike ride, so we'll switch to the map showing the cycling routes. As we zoom in, we can see a lot of routes marked, and some of them have numbers too, which is quite useful. I'm interested in a particular valley over here though, and unfortunately when we zoom in here, there are no cycling routes marked. Oh well. In that case, let's change maps again to the topographic one, and we can see the shape of the landscape better. We can see the major roads in the big valley on the right, and then a narrower valley separated by a ridge. Let's draw a 2-point track just to show roughly where we want to go. So let's go from north to south, between these two small towns. We use a website called GraphHopper.com to plan a route for us, and this opens in the browser. So this is the website of GraphHopper, and it has very quickly found us a route, but that's not the way we want to go. It thinks we're in a car, so we change that to bike. No, that's still along the major roads, so let's say mountain bike instead. That's better, now it's a bit shorter and a lot more up and down. Let's change the maps to their cycle maps, these ones come from Thunder Forest. So we can see our route, we can see the cycle routes in orange, and we have a useful profile view too. If we zoom in, we can see that our recommended route doesn't quite follow the orange lines, so if we want to, we can add extra points to tweak the shape. Of course, we don't have to follow the orange route, but it's often a good idea to follow these signposts. There we go, we've got a good-looking route now and the distance looks okay. So what we want to do is take this route back into GpsPrune. We do this by first saving the track as a GPX file. This is now saved in the Downloads directory. So now we can switch back to GpsPrune and click the Open File button. Then we just select the file which we have just saved. We don't need those 2 points anymore, so we select No to the append question. And there is our track from GraphHopper, and it's already got the altitudes in there, so the profile looks very similar. The shape of this ridge comes out really nicely on these maps. Now remember that our start and end points were really approximate, so I'm going to switch back to Mapnik Maps to clean up the start. I could reposition these first few points or add extra points, but here I'm just going to use the Delete key to delete the first few. Then, to quickly jump to the end of the track, I use the Control key and the End key. That's a handy little shortcut, and I can also pan the map with the cursor keys too. Yeah, I'll delete a few points there as well, and just finish in the town center. I could have done that in GraphHopper too, of course. But here I have control over each point, I can move them and add new points just as we saw in the hike video. Let's imagine that we've edited the track now. I'll show you the 3D function again, but this time I'll use aerial photographs instead of maps, just to see what that looks like with our valley. So I select the aerial maps as the source, and a zoom level of 13, and then it takes a little while to build up the view. Okay, there it is. We can see our track wiggling along the base of this valley, and the large main valley to the east. We can zoom in and spin it around to see the landscape. That little side valley to the west looks interesting too, with a little lake in it. I'm always curious what Wikipedia has to say, so we can ask it which articles are nearby. It tells us that there's a mountain called Calanda, so this must be quite important here. Let's see where it is. We're going right past it. We can keep a lookout for it on the way. But hang on, I'm now having second thoughts about this altitude profile. It looks like we're climbing slowly all the way, and then there's a steep wiggly descent at the end. I think we'll go in the opposite direction instead, so I just select the whole range, and then reverse the range. Now we've got the short climb at the beginning instead. Another thing we can do is put markers every 5 kilometers, so we can track our progress. So we're going from south to north now, and always with the next marker to aim for. And that's our track finished. Just like with the hike we prepared, we can use other online resources like geocaches and weather forecasts, or look at it with other maps. If the track was a really long one, I might also want to automatically compress it by selectively deleting points, but I don't need to do that here. Instead, I can save the result, maybe as a KML or KMZ, or as a GPX file. Or save it directly to my GPS receiver, ready for the trip. So that was it. We saw how to use GraphHopper to prepare our bike ride, and used a few editing functions of GpsPrune. Thanks for watching.